Every season has its own beauty, and in these challenging times, it's great to find some wilderness, even if it's in the city. We'll show you some great trails, plus a story of survival. One city's help for the homeless, another opening for FasTracks, and a cemetery tour on this edition of Connected Colorado. Hi, I'm Wendy Brockman. We're at the Sand Creek Regional Greenway. This is in the northeast Metro Denver area. We're going to tell you more about this amazing open space in a minute. Being in nature can be healing, but imagine being on the brink of death, but coming back despite all odds. An Aurora woman did just that. With her fighting spirit and critical care, it led to victory for Victoria.
Hi! How are you?
Looks so good.
Happy hugs all around.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I appreciate it so much.
39-year-old Victoria Mugo has much to be thankful for. An adorable 5-year-old son, a loving family, and she's alive.
Okay.
This was Victoria last year.
Most people in her situation do not survive.
A lingering bad cough was making her miserable, and a trip to the ER led to a diagnosis of pneumonia and sepsis.
When we ever get a bad infection, it's often not the infection that causes so much problem. It's your body's response to the infection, which is called sepsis.
The symptoms are similar to the flu, but much more intense. Victoria had a severe cough and trouble breathing. Her heart rate was up, her blood pressure low, and she didn't even have the strength to stand for a chest x-ray.
From the look of their faces now in my head, my brain is probably registering that something is really bad going on. So I think that was my last memory.
With her lungs failing, doctors put Victoria into a medical coma to try to get oxygen first and foremost to her heart and brain. It worked, but at a cost.
We were able to save her life. Unfortunately, she lost both legs and both arms.
With no circulation, the tissue on my wrists or my hands and my legs below the knee was dying.
Victoria had always been very active before she got sick, running races, doing obstacle courses, climbing to the tops of mountains, and skiing down them. But it all changed in an instant.
At that point, I had to make the decision. At that point, if I was going to live or if I was going to give up.
Faith and family have always been important, and they help motivate her.
I'm a mom, and my son, just to think that I was back for him, I think that was enough for me.
Victoria fought hard, enduring months of treatment, including dialysis, learning to walk with prosthetics, and overcoming many obstacles.
There she goes.
That's her taking part in the Sepsis Challenge last September, and it was actually her second 5K since losing her limbs.
I might not walk like I used to before, but I'm walking. I might not hold a pen like I used to before, but I'm still holding it, and I'm writing.
Victoria says it's all about finding a new normal, which is why she teamed up with nurse Carol Golis at the Medical Center of Aurora to create a support group for sepsis survivors.
You have to take your time, it's gonna take a while.
I've never known anybody that has the spirit like she does and just accepts that this is the path I'm on now.
Go beyond myself and help other people survive their own traumas. If I can do that, then that's the whole point of me coming back. Maybe it is.
Maybe it is.
Aurora TV filmed that story just before the pandemic broke out. Victoria is doing great. In fact, she's writing a book about her journey. And now joining me at the Sand Creek Regional Greenway is Beth Noble. Thanks for having us.
Oh, sure.
I am just completely mesmerized by this colorful, stunning mural. How did this come about?
Well, we wanted to do something to commemorate our 20th anniversary, which was in 2020. We wanted to transform this space into be a real gathering space and educational space for our trail users.
And this concrete wall was actually part of an old Stapleton Airport runway?
Right, this was one of the runway tunnel walls. It was day lit in 2006, so they took the roof off. What's left here are some parallel walls on either side of Sand Creek. It was never meant to be seen. It was part of a tunnel, and planes and equipment would go over the top of it. So this has been a raw wall for many years, and it was just begging for something. And so we're
Besides graffiti.
Yeah, so we're so excited about what's here.
So how long does this go? What is your opportunity to extend the mural?
This mural is 275 feet long. It only takes about 1/3 of this north wall. We have a wall the same size on the south side of the creek. So there's a lot of opportunity for growth and making this a place for public art.
The trail actually goes into parts of Aurora and Commerce City, and you would want to continue into that as well.
We're a 14-mile trail. We're a critical east-west connector for the Urban Trail Network. So we'd like to do projects in Aurora, Denver, and Commerce City. This is just one site. It's an obvious site where we can really add enhancements to the trail. But yeah, we've got lots of real estate here in terms of wall space.
So creative. And congratulations on your 20th anniversary, by the way.
Thank you. 20 years as a nonprofit. We were in Notion much longer than that, but we're going strong at 20 years.
That's fantastic. So what is the Sand Creek Regional Greenway?
We're a 14-mile urban trail and riparian environment. Our hashtag is wilderness in the city.
Riparian, is that what
Riparian, right. And that's an environment next to water, the creek side, the bank of the creek, and the trees and the plants and the birds and the mammals, all who live here. Our trail starts in Aurora at the Aurora soccer fields, goes through the Central Park neighborhood of Denver into Commerce City, and then connects at the west side at the Platte.
So the preservation of this area is important. Why?
It is because we're losing wild places in our city. You know, I grew up in a town that didn't have wild places. We really didn't have very many parks. My dad grew up in a small town next to a creek, and he spent so many hours exploring and seeing muskrats and beaver and bird life. I didn't get that, but kids here with this creek and with the Greenway, they get to ride their bikes by here, walk, run, and really have that exploration time that we would love every child to have.
So moving forward, donations are a big part of what is going to drive this project, but volunteers, I mean, what do you want people to know?
Yeah, everything that we do is about the community, and volunteers are a critical part of that. We have volunteer cleanup days, we have habitat restoration days, we have projects that you can do to help the environment on your own. We had volunteers clean this wall and help paint some of the background colors. So volunteers are really critical, and we'd love folks to come out and help us. We post those on our website, those opportunities, and we love working with folks from the community. You mentioned donations, those are really critical. It couldn't have happened without donations from the community.
When you see this, it's like the potential. I'm looking at this concrete all the way down and as far as it can go. What has been the reaction to it?
People fallen in love with this.
Do
they? They really have. We have photographs of kids dancing in front of that rabbit or pretending to kiss the fox. I know that families have gathered here and they've questioned like, oh, I like that blue jay, but it doesn't really look like a blue jay. And then somebody else will say, well, I think that's a kingfisher. And so it's a real opportunity for folks to get out that field guide and look it up and learn, what is that? Is that a blue jay or a kingfisher? So it's become an education space too.
Just a fantastic way to make magic out of something that really didn't look like much before.
And you mentioned magic. I think that's one of the great elements of the design. So there's whimsy here, there's very clear realism in how the artist has depicted the wildlife, but there's also some abstraction. So there's something for everybody.
You have a challenge going on right now that really you can do in a number of ways, walking, biking, however you want to do it. And it's called the 14-mile challenge.
Yep, the 14 challenge, because we are a 14-mile trail. We want folks to get out and explore the Greenway on their own. This is an on-your-own challenge. There's no particular starting time or stopping time. You can do it by yourself. You can do all 14 miles in one day, or you can break it up into different segments. All you do is give us a shout, an email, say you want to do the 14-mile challenge. We'll give you little assignments along the way, like take a picture of your favorite animal on the mural. And when you complete the 14 challenge, then we'll send you a patch that has our logo on it and a sunflower and 14, and you can put that on your jacket or your backpack, and it's just a fun way to get folks out and exploring the Greenway.
Yeah, my kids would love the adventure of it.
Yeah, so much fun. And we have families doing it and folks who I'm going to run all 14 miles one morning. So
some people associate the name Sand Creek with a massacre that actually happened back in the 1800s involving the Cheyenne and Arapaho people. This is not related to that.
Geographically, no. It's a different Sand Creek. That was many miles away. We're not related at all.
What else do you want to say about this project?
I think this is a first very visible step that we've made in a long time to transform this trail and make it a real community gathering place, a place that people have used this year as a refuge, a place to get out and have some quiet time down by the river, listen to the creek as it moves through the city. This is a real transformational time, and we're really grateful for the community's help in this.
Well, Beth, thank you for bringing us down here. This is a little treasure a lot of people probably don't know about until hopefully when they see this story, and it's going to be exciting to see this, wonderland continue. So thank you very much for having us.
Oh, thanks for coming down. It's a great morning, and it's a beautiful place.
Some new trails recently opened in beautiful Fort Collins, including the Northwest Trail Project.
This is ready? Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Really appreciate everyone coming out today. Today's a celebration of several really key projects that we've been working on for some time. First is the Lincoln Trail Spur. It extends down to the Poudre River Trail. It's about 3/4 mile in length. If I had to summarize this project in one word, I think it would all be about connections.
And really a commitment of this council and previous councils to access and safety and connectivity within our community.
Prior to this project, school kids on bikes or walking to Lincoln Middle School would have to go all the way down Shields and all the way down Vine, having to be on a very narrow shoulder with very fast traffic speeding by them.
And right here we have the new paved spur trail connecting from our main Poudre Trail all the way to Lincoln Middle School and the Boys and Girls Club. Whether they're coming from the north side of town or south of here. These new projects are going to make it so much easier and safer for residents to be able to access destinations and neighborhoods in this part of town. Okay, we've arrived here at Lincoln Middle School.
The trail continues now onto Lancer Drive, where there is a protected two-way bike lane to access Vine Drive. At the intersection of Lancer and Vine Drive, we've enhanced the bicycle and pedestrian crossing with a new curb extension to protect bicyclists and pedestrians when they are crossing the street. The green paint is designated as the bicycle crosswalk, and then the white is our traditional pedestrian crosswalk. When you cross to the south side of Vine and travel west or east, there is now a two-way on-street protected lane for bicyclists and pedestrians, extending all the way from Hannah Drive to the new Punta Verde Trail and natural area.
Any project we do these days, it takes partnership. And we had a number of partners. Stormwater Department, the Natural Areas Department, Park Planning and Development Department, and FC Moves kind of all work together.
But we also had great coordination with streets, engineering, and traffic operations.
So we have arrived at the Vine Drive entrance to the Punta Verde natural area.
One quick note is that the two-way bicycle and pedestrian lane on Vine ends at the Punta Verde trailhead. So if you want to continue west, make sure to cross the street at Lancer and ride west on the north side of Vine Drive. As we travel through the Punta Verde natural area, you'll enjoy a new recycled asphalt path that provides access to Taft Hill Road and great mountain views.
Punta Verde, of course, means green bridge, and that name was chosen because of the connections to nature that the open space will provide for the diverse neighborhoods that are surrounding it.
So here we are at Taft Hill, where you'll find a new bicycle and pedestrian activated crossing. Once you cross here, you can pick up an existing paved path that continues on to Irish Elementary. And this is planned to connect all the way to Poudre High School in the future.
So I just want to say thanks again for everyone whose hard work and dedication helped make these improvements possible, allowing everyone the opportunity to participate in our wonderful amenities here in Fort Collins.
They are loving those trails in Fort Collins. You know, whenever possible, we're still adapting, still continuing to live our lives. In Arvada, they donned masks to carry on a tradition, the annual walking tour of the Arvada Cemetery. Visitors to the Arvada Cemetery stepped back in time at the annual walking tour put on by the Arvada Historical Society.
Enjoy the tour.
The 2020 event showcased a milestone for Arvada. It's been 150 years since we got our name.
The year it was 1870 when everything began to change. The Colorado Central Railroad ran from Denver up the Front Range.
The event always features actors portraying Arvada's pioneers. This year, Louis Reno and Marianne Wadsworth explained how Arvada got its name.
When the railroad came to town, we had to have a name in order to get mail. That's where Wadsworth and I got together and decided that we need to plat the city of Arvada.
So the two of them, town founders Louis Reno and Benjamin Wadsworth, each donated land for the town and platted it out. And Wadsworth's wife, Marianne, got to name it. She called it Arvada, after the middle name of her brother-in-law, Hiram Arvada Haskin.
Well, it turns out it's biblical. There was an ancient island off of Phoenicia that was called Arvad, and they were great mariners. They were known for their skillful seafaring abilities, and they were a prosperous port. So I thought Arvada would be a fine place to call home.
That's how we came up with the name Arvada, and so by December of 1870, we had a town name.
There have been many other milestones since, of course. Arvada was incorporated in 1904. And we've grown from our agricultural days when we became known as the celery capital of the world. But our unique name has stood the test of time.
Well, Arvada has inspired many hearts and minds along the way. 120,000 call it home this very day.
So now we know officially Arvada, not Arvada, not a Spanish name. The Lakewood Police Department is constantly looking for new ways to serve their community. In 2020, they hired 2 homeless navigators to help provide services and resources to people experiencing homelessness in that city.
Hey man, I brought Matt with me.
Hi Ed, how you doing?
I figure we can make that connection now.
I talked to you on the phone yesterday.
Yes, sir.
My name is Matt Wallington, and I am a homeless navigator for the City of Lakewood's Police Department. As a navigator, I can step in. I have a list of resources, knowledge, connections, and things like that that I can make in real time to help people.
Yeah. What else can we help you with today?
Homelessness is a community issue. Homelessness affects everybody, and when we see people who are experiencing homelessness, it's the community that kind of also bears an imprint on that. And so when we can help people who are experiencing homelessness, we're also helping support the community as well.
Is there one thing that we can help with this situation here?
Not really, not unless you got a dumpster.
My name is Princess Griffin. I am the homeless navigator for the City of Lakewood. Every person is different. So when I come in contact with people experiencing homelessness, the first step is just to learn their story, to learn what they have to say. Because as we know, everyone has a story. And then we go from there on how we can be of a better resource, how we can help those who are experiencing homelessness, what will be more helpful for them. And then I go back to my team and try to figure out how we can problem solve and figure out solutions for them.
There we go. There's a couple pairs of socks for them.
All right, we'll start with this.
When our agents find someone, they now have the ability to turn that situation over to our navigators who will help case manage and identify solutions for that individual and what they need.
This is Princess. She's one of the homeless navigators I told you about.
How's it going? How are you feeling today?
Being on the CAT team, we've been exposed to a lot of our homeless throughout the city for a number of years now, so they're starting to get to know us, but there's still, police across our chest. And when you bring someone who's a civilian who just comes a little softer, and it's just a nice approach for them to feel more comfortable. And on top of that, it just shows that we're willing to step out of some of those enforcement roles to really educate and really bring forth resources and try to be ahead of the curve and bring those better resources to them.
I think it's important to know that the homeless community, or people experiencing homelessness, does have a voice, and I'm hoping to be that voice and to continue to be that voice. I think it's very important to kind of close that communication gap.
We have 9 police agents or police officers who are dedicated to helping the entire community, but especially our homeless population, and they don't have all the tools they need to do it successfully, whereas our specialized civilians who have the training, who have the experience, between our 2 homeless navigators, we have almost 2 decades of experience working directly with the homeless and providing services. And when we can bring that in combination with the energy, the drive to help that our agents have, we can really make a difference.
So what sounds like a plan? All right, good to see you, Ed.
Such important work in Lakewood. Back here at the mural, we learned this is part of the old Stapleton Airport runway, but there is public art all around our cities and transportation areas. In North Glen, they recently celebrated the long-awaited opening of the N Line with some public art of their own.
Good morning, North Glen. How's everybody doing this morning? Are you excited to be here? This day has finally come, North Glen. I'm Heather Geyer, the city manager, and I'm so honored and pleased to be here this morning. I've had the opportunity to work with North Glen for the past 2 years, and I have to say, I know so many of you out with us today have been working on this N-Line project for so many more years, and it's finally come to fruition. So congratulations, I'm so proud of this community, and let's make this a great day of celebration.
Thank you for not only joining us today to open up the new N-Line, but to also celebrate the newest additions to North Glen's public art collection. As you can see here behind me, the North Glen Arts and Humanities Foundation and the city made it a priority to enhance our station through impactful, large-scale sculpture and mural elements.
The name is Test Temporis, and that's Latin for test of time, and it's to represent that the horse, for transportation reasons, has been able to span the test of time. Since it was a transportation theme, we wanted to go back from the earliest types of transportation, which would be back to the stagecoaches, the trolleys, the horse-drawn trolleys, all the way to the modern, which will be the train that's going to be going by here every day. And so that's what we try to incorporate through the years, all the way from probably the 1700s all the way to present.
These paintings are all about transportation for the future. On this particular piece right here, it starts like with a stagecoach. This is how it is, like how I figure how the changes of time have gone through with. So the stagecoach goes into our modern day bus, and then to the futuristic type of bus. Everything, to me, it seems like it's futuristic with more flowing lines to it. That's why I went with the bus.
I just wanted to say that 16 years ago, FasTracks was passed, which was a huge long-term commitment for the voters. I was in North Glen City Council at that time, and there was a whole lot of controversy about this location and the impacts to the surrounding community. And I know Marge Carlo's here too, so she could speak to that also. Luckily, there was consensus to go forward, and I'm here today to thank my former colleagues.
So I'm sure that many of you, myself included, were thinking this day would never come. So we are very excited to be here today and to open it officially to all of our residents. Though COVID has tempered our enthusiasm a bit, this is still a landmark occasion for our community. I really want to thank our artists, not only for being here, but for the beautiful work
that you did, and we get to treasure for a lifetime. So thank you so much for being here. So the N line helps our residents have access to the metro area, and it'll bring new people to our community, and it will also support the economic growth and diversity in North Glen. This took a lot of work by a lot of people over many years.
To see another FasTracks opening. Listen, thank you to the Sand Creek Regional Greenway for having us. We hope you can get out and enjoy a variety of these outdoor spaces, including some art and history. Remember, stay safe, wear a mask, save lives, save jobs, save the economy. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on another edition of Connected Colorado. Some outdoor trails, one city's help for the homeless, and even a cemetery tour. Those stories and more on the next edition of Connected Colorado.